The problem that HR, recruitment, talent acquisition is dealing with right now is not that candidates are cheating, and it's not that employers are suddenly over-automating their processes and bolting on AI where it doesn't belong. The real problem is that the basic assumptions hiring was built on no longer hold. For decades, recruitment has worked on an unwritten agreement. When someone applied, we assumed their application, CV, resume, cover letter reflected something real about them. Not perfectly, but well enough to make decisions. Effort mattered. Writing a CV, tailoring a cover letter, preparing for an interview, these took time. Now, that contract wasn't fair. It favoured people who knew the rules and had the resources to play the game. But it worked well enough to keep signal and noise in some kind of balance. And it's that balance that generative AI has broken. Because now a candidate can generate a polished, role-specific, perfectly tailored application in minutes. Not because they're better writers, but because thanks to generative AI, the time and cost of producing great-looking resumes, CVs, application forms, cover letters has dropped to essentially zero. And it's not just one candidate with one application. One candidate could create dozens or hundreds of applications and CVs, all tailored and fluent. Employers have responded in predictable ways. When volume increases, we add filters. When humans can't keep up, we use more automation. So we're in a situation now that AIs write CVs for other AIs to read. It could look like a moral issue from the outside. Are candidates lying? Are employers being lazy? And that framing doesn't help. What's happened is simply a change in that the signals still exist, the CV, cover letter, but they no longer mean what traditionally they've meant. A fluent cover letter no longer shows communication skill or motivation. A tightly matched CV no longer shows experience or fit. And this might be uncomfortable because many hiring systems are optimized for a world that no longer exists. They process documents well, but they do not verify candidate capability. It's tempting to treat this as a technology problem, to ask whether to ban AI, to detect AI, or to counter AI with more AI. But that misses the point. The real issue is the assumptions underneath the process. If you assume that cover letters, resumes reflect true candidate capability, then filtering harder on those makes sense. But if that assumption no longer holds, then filtering harder on those things pushes you further away from what you're trying to measure, which is, at the heart, candidate capability. None of this is about blaming recruiters. Recruiters didn't create this environment. They're trying to operate responsibly inside it. And it's not about blaming candidates either. In a competitive market, people will use the tools available to them. That's just rational behavior. What does need to change is the design of the recruitment funnel itself. In the next videos, I'll get more concrete. I'll cover why CVs are no longer evidence. I'll explain how some hiring tools create risk by generating information that candidates never provided themselves. I'll also look at interviews, security and identity, and where this is heading. But for now, the starting point is this. Hiring didn't become harder because candidates somehow got worse. It became harder because the signals, the CVs, the resumes, the cover letters changed. And once you accept that, you can start redesigning the process around evidence again.